Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have, for DinoVember, Sombrero wearing Dinosaur. So,
is DinoVember a thing now?
It's DinoVember. Look, man, it was either DinoVember or Nopevember, where we discuss creepypastas that are just like, nope!
All right.
Which we might do next year, but...
Are you going to be including creepypastas where people die? Because it's Die November. It could be a double pun.
Well, generally people die in horror in creepypastas.
Yeah, usually.
So it's kind
that
of
would include like 90% of creepypastas.
Yeah, it's kind of an oxymoron. It's kind of par of the course.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but a good portion. I mean, like, death is a scary thing, so it's prevalent in horror.
That's true.
But yes, so I was getting ready to do DinoVember because Hobovember kind of fell flat after one entry last year. Mainly because there's only like one real entry that we could find that worked for it.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I've been watching Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom recently, and I was like, oh man, DinoVember, that works as a shtick. Anyway,
It could be a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I started looking for dinosaur, and I was curious to see if there's any actual dinosaur related creepypastas.
Because you've done a few over the years, right? There's that one where there's like a raptor and a
okay, that's an SCP foundation, and it's actually
counts.
It's not, but it wasn't the focus of the SCP.
Was there a dinosaur?
There were velociraptors in maid outfits. Yes, in this weird interdimensional strip joint.
That's weird. Anyways,
Welcome
that's
to the
not
SCP.
why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. That's SCP. That's not this. But so as I was looking, I found this title that I was just like, "Oh, we got to do this."
Yeah. As soon as I open the email, I'm just looking at that and be like, "Really? Is this what I'm reading this week?
Is this my life now?"
All right.
But you should like it because it's a yellow dinosaur.
Yeah, that helps. That helps a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, we're doing Sombrero wearing Dinosaur. It is on creepypasta.wikia, and it is by The Wizard Experience starring Meds 2.0. It's a long name for an author.
Sounds like he should be writing stories on Red No Sleep, is it? Is that one of the really long ones are?
The 2 long days. It's like, yeah. So yeah, we'll get into the rundown for this. So this kid, Billy, wakes up from a nightmare where he kills someone, presumably his parents. And this isn't usually the case. Usually he has this nightmare, but it's...
Is it presumably parents that early?
I kind of presume... It might be an assumption on my side, but I'm going with it for this.
I had no idea what the people were that I was talking about.
I assumed it was loved ones, but he's had this nightmare before, but usually he's the one that sees them. Like, he's not the perpetrator of the killings. And in this case, he was. And in his room, when he wakes up, he sees a yellow T-Rex wearing a sombrero. And it's a little too big for his room.
But it's still big. Like, its head is pushing against
and
the
ceiling. Tail's along the wall kind of thing.
Yeah. It's still like a Bumblebee situation.
Yeah.
Bumblebee being the Transformers, not just a bee being in your room.
Glad you clarified that. Because I was like, that could be really confusing for some people.
Yeah, indeed.
It begins talking to him and addressing him as different names and people. They begin to play, and it quickly becomes apparent, at least to me, that there is something wrong in this play, or in this game that they're playing. Quoted example being, then they played checkers. Joshua was the black one, and Jerry was the red ones.
Jerry's the dinosaur, by the way.
Yeah, Jerry's the dinosaur. Sorry, yes. And Billy keeps swapping names and identities. Then they played robbers and cops. Joshua was the cop, and Jerry was the robber. Then they played firefighters. Joshua was the firefighter, and Jerry was the knife. Wait, what? Then they played superheroes. Joshua was the superhero, and Jerry was multiple stab wounds.
Yep.
Then they played knights and dragons. Joshua was the gun, and Jerry was the bullet piercing the skull. They played checkers. Susan was the dead body. Jerry was the father. What the Anyway, they played these games into the night and morning when Susan, who is Billy, needs to get ready for school, and their mother comes in to check on them. At the sight of the mess of toys, not any kind of gore or anything like that, she scolds Billy, but then gets remorseful over it and apologizes to him as he's like having breakfast and getting ready to leave for school. As Billy is getting on the bus, his dad is covering up a yellow piss spot on the lawn with fresh snow, thinking of killing the asshole drunk, Lucas, who...
Darling.
Lucas! Darling.
Sorry.
I love the power glove. It's so bad. As I look to you with the power glove on it.
It's so bad.
Yeah, so like he's thinking of killing the asshole drunk Lucas, who done this yellow or like piss spot, like overnight. Anyway, later Billy is getting home off the bus. It is a sunny day, and careful not to fall, he goes to the house and rings the doorbell. His mother opens the door and smiles down at him as he proceeds to walk in. Rewind. Billy's getting off the bus. It's sunny, but with some clouds. And careful not to fall on his face, he goes to his house and rings the doorbell. His mother opens the door and looks down at him.
It's like a blank expression on that one.
Rewind. Anyway, later, Billy gets off the bus. It's sunny with lots of clouds. And careful not to fall and get blood on the sidewalk. He goes to the house and rings the doorbell. His mother opens the door and frowns down at him as he proceeds to walk in. Rewind. Later, Billy gets off the bus. It is not sunny. There are lots of clouds. Like it's overcast, basically. And careful not to fall and get blood and brains on the sidewalk. He goes to the house and rings the doorbell. He rings again, and eventually the police inside answer, and they have been investigating the 2 dead bodies in the kitchen. They try to comfort Jimmy, who is Steve, who is Billy, about the death of his parents. As the police look down at the bodies, it is noted that a dinosaur did it, or that it looks like a dinosaur did it. It does not get any better than this. Rewind. It does not get any better than this. Rewind. This sucks. I need a drink. End. So that was the story of Sombrero wearing Dinosaur. Yeah. Was that a succinct rundown, gamer?
Well, I mean, the last bit was basically word for word.
Yeah.
Slightly paraphrased, but yeah.
Yeah. I did try to like pull a few words out of it to try to like make it a little bit more simple, but yeah. So I guess on to everyone tolerates the ground positions. First quote. Danny nodded slowly as he dragged his knees up to his chest and wrapped his arms around them, eyeing the dinosaur, hoping he was here to help. Oh, hang on. Yes. Hang on a second. So as he dragged his knees up to his chest and wrapped his arms around them. So it's supposed to be, and then wrapped his arms around them.
Or just and wrapped.
Yeah, that would work as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get rid of those ums and ahs of alliteration or writing. The next one. Yes. I'm afraid of the nightmares, he said, in what sounded more like a whimper. The dinosaur looked around the room, his tail slammed against one of the nightstand's legs, knocking it all over, but neither the boy or the dinosaur cared, not even his who were parents sleeping next door noticed the sound. So, a bit long-winded, and probably the biggest grammar offender of this story. There are a lot of run-on sentences in this story, and that's basically my statement on the story. Is that the almost every other sentence, if not most of the sentences in the story, are like paragraphs.
Yeah, like what you just read, I believe, is an entire paragraph.
Yeah,
that's
it
one
is.
Sentence.
Yeah. Also, in this particular, by the end, I think it's meant to say. Not even his parents who were sleeping next door noticed the sound.
Yep. Although I wouldn't say not even his parents. I would say even the boy's parents, because the last noun that was used was the dinosaur.
Yes.
So some might assume that the dinosaur's parents.
Yes. Yes, Jerry's parents. Mm-hmm. It's actually a shared house. Like there's actually two families, a human family and a T-Rex family.
Yeah.
God, I want that fucking story. I mean, we're already like deep into like some creepy like imaginary friend psychosis going on in this story, but
we got 1 week to write another dinosaur story.
yes. All right. And on to my next one. Meanwhile, the father had the idea of following that asshole of Lucas. Next time, he took a piss and slammed his head with a shovel over and over until his brain scattered all over the white snow like painting on a blank canvas. Then take a smoke while sitting on the dead body. Whew.
Punctuation.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that's not actually what I'm getting at with the sentence. It's I think it shouldn't have a of between asshole and Lucas. So like, meanwhile, the father had the idea of following that asshole Lucas.
That asshole of Lucas?
Yeah, asshole of Lucas.
He's following specifically his asshole.
Yes, exactly. The asshole of Lucas. That ass.
Yeah, the ass. His ass specifically is what peed on the snow.
Wait. That's not how it works.
Shut up. He's part bird. They have one hole for everything.
Yes. Also, I just gotta say, that came out of like left field. Like the whole like, and it goes nowhere. Just like the yellow spot on the snow, he's like covering it up, and he's like bickering and yelling about how this asshole Lucas must have done it. But then it goes nowhere.
Yeah, it's literally just
like
that probably is what happened. A drunk guy peed there.
Yeah, no, but I wonder if like because he's like already thinking about like killing himself. My only thing is like maybe it's like to show that like the father also has like suicide or psychotic or murderous like tendencies in his mind.
There's a reason that this little kid is as fucked up as he is.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. Yeah. Like that's the only reason I can see why you would have this like and just have it go nowhere like that.
It's character building.
I guess. Yeah,
it gives the father more character.
Yeah.
It gives the father more character than the mother.
Although no, the mother does have like a little bit in this.
Although she yells at him.
The father is called the father.
So is the mother.
That's true. But
I mean, he used his name quota on all the names he was dropping.
Yeah, I know.
What?
His name quota.
Mm-hmm. Did he?
Yeah, I mean, like he used Steve, Susan, Billy, Jimmy,
Jerry.
Well, yeah, Jerry is
but still, his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, like it's creepypasta parents, so they're like cardboard cutouts.
Mm-hmm. I understand. I thought when you said he uses quota, I thought you were talking about the father used his name quota. Like, what are you talking about? Yes,
this drunk even got a fucking name.
That is weird.
Then again, like if this is from the kid's point of view, like that's the kind of thing. This seems to be like, while it's not written from like a first person perspective, it's more like third person perspective, but it's from the mental perspective.
Yeah. So as a kid, you call your mom, and your dad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Except if you're weird and
call them mother, father.
No, some people actually use first names.
Oh, that's true. I mean, like, it's not that weird. It's just the way you were raised.
It's weird does not mean bad. Weird means it is different to the way that you operate.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's the way I see weird.
Gotcha. All right.
So don't be weird about it.
I'll try not. So on to the next grammar position, because they're still doing that. The bus drove down the lane. The sky had not a single cloud, and the sun shined so much that the snow almost... the sun shone so much.
Was it shine?
It's a really nitpicky thing, but it's supposed to be shown, not shined.
Yeah.
And a similar thing is with the doorbell. He stopped by the doorstep and ringed the doorbell. Technically, it should be and rang the doorbell. Mm-hmm. It's like hung and hanged.
Is ringed even a word? I guess it is.
Ringed, yeah.
When did you use ringed over rung? They're both past tense. Or are they?
Well, ringed, you do like a ringed finger.
Yes. Like, it's more of like of ownership, like I think ownership, or there's another word for it. That's ownership, like where like it's fuck. I'm like completely drawing a blank, but I know like it's right there. Tip of my tongue. It's possessive. That's what it is.
I was going to go. It's more the description of like
of a thing.
A bell.
ringing,
like a
I'm
ringed
gonna
finger.
ring your neck.
Oh, yeah. No, I think... Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah. But, like, I'm thinking, like, ringed finger.
So, like,
yeah.
I rang your neck.
Yeah.
I didn't ring your neck.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter.
It's the same thing as, like, hung and hang. Like, it's not... when a man isn't hung because...
Yeah, he is.
That he's hung in a different way.
Comparatively to women,
He's
yeah.
a hanged man, not a hung man. Yeah, so that's my grammar positions, actually. I'm sure there are other ones in there, but like those are the ones that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, what do you got?
Well, I'd be laying it down if I didn't have a front butt.
I saw that front button.
Yeah.
I was like, I could add this to my list, but I'm not going to because Mikey's got this covered.
The one time we do that, though, he'll miss it.
Yeah.
Then we'll have to find it.
Wait, so do you have a butt and story?
No.
Okay, just the one butt?
Yeah.
That butt dough.
But this time they were worse. Instead of seeing them die, he was the one who killed them.
Yeah.
The second sentence.
Yeah, I know. I think we all saw it. We're just like,
Yeah.
front butt. Don't do
So,
that.
what did you assume this them situation is at the start, Mikey? From the get-go.
I didn't really know. Like, I didn't assume parents.
No, I
Really?
didn't either.
Okay.
When I went in here reading the title of Sombrero wearing Dinosaur. So I'm assuming them was like in a dream. He like had a bunch of dinosaur friends and was killing them.
Oh, okay, maybe. I usually like I didn't immediately think parents until the very end of the story, but I figured it was loved ones or somebody close to the kid. But like they were just like anomalous, like because it's just like he woke up from a nightmare and like where he killed some people.
The way I saw it was with like situations where if there's no
Descriptor.
if there's no descriptor, you take the previous one, which is the title in this in this situation.
Yeah, where I was killing the sombrero wearing dinosaur. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
All right. And then next I have a run-on sentence.
What a surprise. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
And it also has a section where it need to be broken up, which is why...
Well, all the run-ons do.
Yeah, and like that'd be most of the story, man.
Yeah.
That's why I covered
We're
it.
not
like,
a reading pasta.
Yeah.
Not a reading.
We're not a narration pasta or podcast.
Yeah, I said pasta first, corrected myself. Then you did the same thing.
But yeah, like I mean, again, like that's kind of by all means do it. But like, like for this story, but like don't. I hope you don't have them all like the entire story like basically written out. Okay, just highlight it because it was like, yeah, that's why I left mine. It was like kind of like, yeah, there's a lot of them here, so I'm not going to go into all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I only have 2 run-ons that I listed.
So. Me too. So and one of them was already talked about. So I hope you don't have my other one. Otherwise, I'll have nothing to talk about on this segment.
Well, I mean, it's grammar positions. That's just usually like you rarely get a chance before we all.
Hey, man, I usually get chances.
Sometimes you're like, oh man, I gotta pull up the slack here.
Yes, sometimes, and very rarely do you guys get every single thing I have.
That's true. Yeah.
I usually have something to say, but we'll see.
All right. Billy's hands felt frozen like pitchforks.
Yes!
Shaking, trying to get a grip onto something. His eyes just stared blankly at the blankets covering his legs. When the nightmare slowly faded in his mind, he raised his head slowly and right in front of his bed saw a big, yellow T-Rex wearing what seemed to be a pretty big but tight for his size sombrero.
That's a really bad
Jesus!
one sentence.
Yeah, that is probably like the start of like that's. Oh my god.
Also, why is he sleeping on a saw? When he woke up from his bed saw.
Yep. Bed saw.
Yeah, it needs a comma there.
Yeah.
Just like I added commas to the one section where what seemed to be a pretty big but tight for his size sombrero.
Yes.
Like, there's definitely ways to break that up. Like, you could like explain that it kind of was big for his size after you bring the revelation of like a giant yellow T-Rex wearing a sombrero, and then next sentence like the sombrero seemed to be big for his size. Like, kind of just like give some more details in the after, but like give the big reveal, but don't like do so long-winded because then it's like, what? Like, I'm so tired from like all the description from all
it's like it's a giant dinosaur with a sombrero, and it's like this, and it has this, and its tail,
this and this and this, and yeah, exactly,
like, because it's such.
It loses the kick or the punch.
Yeah, because you can't breathe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get the wind knocked out of you, not from the revelation, but of the dinosaur, but from how long-winded that sentence was.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one I have is a potential change that should be done but after I reread it, I was like, well, it could mean something else. So the sentence is, he was pretty small for a T-Rex, but it was still big nonetheless.
Okay.
So
it being T-Rex.
But it should be he because he is the T-Rex, and he is not an it.
Did they specify gender of Jerry?
Yeah,
Yes.
Are you really assuming the T-Rex's gender?
He was pretty small for a T-Rex.
Okay, yeah. And then
saying
it was still a T-Rex. Yeah. Yeah.
It was still big.
Okay.
So they're potentially talking about his, Dinodom.
What?
It's a child.
Also, dinosaurs didn't show their. Anyway, no, I'm not going into that.
What?
Like in bio. No, I'm not going into it.
Tell me about the birds and the bees. The reptiles and the
reptiles have it's concealed, it's sheathed.
Oh,
Unless it's sound.
Oh.
You're making this way creepier.
This is way creepier.
There are multiple stab wounds later.
That's it, we're done. Over. No, go on.
They start calling him Susan.
Oh, you're making it worse.
Yes.
I'm gonna need bleach for my ears and eyes.
It's fine.
Yeah, so, but basically, I changed it to he, so he was still big nonetheless.
Yeah.
Because it's already established that he is a he.
Yes.
It could also be referring to a sombrero. Because it's still a big sombrero.
It is a pretty fucking big sombrero.
Like, on a human, it would be massive.
Yeah.
But on him, it's a little bit too small, but not too small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true, yeah.
Very true.
And then I also have my last run-on sentence here, and I felt it needed another comma or something to break it up at one point, and I wrote down, I was like, it's a run-on sentence. Billy was surprised to find...
Sorry.
And thus you stole Gamer's thunder.
No, I can still say something about it, maybe.
Okay.
Billy was surprised to find that he was not only not afraid of the dinosaur, but he felt safe around him.
But he kind of felt safe, is what it says. You read that.
Sorry. But he kind of felt safe around him. The dinosaur opened his mouth and spoke. Oddly enough, his mouth was not moving as he talked. It was like someone was inside the dinosaur and was talking from inside.
Ahoy, Billy. Are you okay, Danny? Oh, this is gonna be great. Suddenly, yeah, it was. See, when I read that, I remember reading that part, and like my visual suddenly shifted because I was thinking yellow, but like Jurassic Park T-Rex with a sombrero, and that was cool. And then suddenly it shrunk down and became Barney when like it said that there's as if somebody like was inside of it. I was like, oh, this is less scary now, or less cool now.
At that point, I don't know if you're going to say this, Mikey, but essentially, at that point, it kind of felt like he's a mascot. He's just in a mascot costume right now.
A Barney. Yeah. It's less awesome like T-Rex, like Jurassic Park, and more Barney. Which is scary in its own right.
It's Blarney, the yellow dinosaur.
Blarney.
Yeah.
No, it's Darny.
Why?
I don't know. Or Jarny, because Jerry, I don't know. It's Jerry!
No. we're making a joke here.
I don't know.
Alright, yeah, so my thing was, and probably didn't get caught there, was that I put a comma after not only, because he was not only not afraid of the dinosaur.
Yeah, that is...
You know what I did with that? That's double dots. And that's unnecessary. I'd go with he was not afraid. Oh, shit.
Done.
No, hang on. As soon as I started talking, my phone went into freaking sleep mode. I went with he was not afraid, but he also kind of felt safe. Like, get rid of the knots. Like, get rid of the double knot, rather, because he's not afraid, but he also felt safe.
Yeah, that works.
Instead of being only not afraid, but... Wait. He was not only not afraid of the dinosaur, but he felt safe. Instead, just go, he was not afraid. And he felt
also
safe.
felt... And actually, in fact, felt safe. Like, there we go.
Too many knots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, too many knots.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's the end of my grammar inquisitions.
Mm-hmm. And that whole, sentence should be split. Well, when the topic changes into talking instead of... What is at the start?
Again, a lot of these could be fixed by separating them into separate sentences or adding a few commas, some punctuation.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's a lot of commas in some of them, but
but some of them it's unnecessary. Some of them do require to be a little bit give us a little bit more of a break than a comma. Give us
well, because if the topic is changing, that's a clear moment where you swap it to a period and change it.
Yeah,
because if the topic's changing in the middle of a sentence, it's not the same sentence anymore.
Yeah.
If it's a drastic change, it shouldn't even be the same paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, with I don't know, was any of the dialogue, was it just immediately after a sentence? Or was did they put it into the next paragraph?
Oh, was it separated into paragraphs? I don't know.
I think the You Okay, Danny, I'm looking at it right now, and it looks like it is the next paragraph down, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
The one time I don't load up the actual creepypasta and I can't go check it.
All right. Well, we'll just have to move on to actual thoughts after that.
Yeah.
So actual thoughts. So this is, again, when the dinosaur first speaks to Billy. "You okay, Danny?" asked the dinosaur with a deep voice, with oddly enough sounded more human than anything else. All right. At first, at this point, I was kind of confused when suddenly the name Billy was a different name. And there was apparently another kid in the room talking to Jerry, or maybe Billy was talking to Danny, and then suddenly it was never mind. But then, as I kept reading,
before we continue, what I assumed first was the dinosaur showed up and he didn't really know the kid's name or something.
Oh, maybe that could have been it too.
He's like, "Are you Billy? Maybe I'll just use Billy. We'll see if that's it." Then he'd be like, "No, I'm Susan," or whatever name he's gonna go with. But no.
Yeah. But then, as I kept reading and realized Billy might be suffering from multiple personalities and eventually some form of mental break, it kind of pulled in the horror from that, especially when they're playing. And at the end, you kind of get the sense that the kid is the kid's suffering from some kind of mental illness or some kind of something, some kind of psychosis is going on. Well, first off, he's seeing a big yellow dinosaur in his room.
He's a kid. Imaginary friends.
Yeah, and that's how it starts. It was okay, so it's an imaginary friend. But then Bill or Joshua was the firefighter, and Jerry was the knife, and Joshua was the superhero, and Jerry was the multiple step. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, but at that point, it still could be all imaginary.
Yeah, I know, but it's still I was getting a sense of dread from
that. Yeah, because of how
going.
dark the imagination's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then further, as I read, there are some really good creepy moments. Like I said, they left me with a shiver or two. These, kind of creeping dread of this dark spiral of psychosis that this kid is having.
Mm-hmm.
And then, though, at the end, when the parents are dead, I'm kind of left with some idea, was the dinosaur actually the culprit of the parents' deaths? Because even the cops kind of sounds like a dinosaur did this. But
first of all, That's a huge leap.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done my statement. However, I'm like looking at that, and I was and like it could also just be through the lens of the kid. Like maybe that's like his mental state. Like that's how he's interpreting the whole situation, and he actually is in fact killed his parents with knives, with a knife or something like that, so badly that like the guys are commenting like that, and it's almost like a kind of a grim irony.
But he just got home from school.
Yeah, but did he kill them before he went to school? That's the other thing. Like, how long have they been dead? Because we keep having these rewinds, and I'm wondering if that's like in his head, like rewinding the day, like and like it's like slowly like basically unraveling what actually happened, or is it just like that week? As like I guess you rewind and then like it's the same kind of like routine he goes through every week, and then like his mom is or like his parents are like getting more and more soured as he's more and more distant and like falling into the psychosis.
But it's
and then the last
rewinding, it's rewinding, not fast forwarding.
Yeah, so I'm thinking because this is like somehow this is obviously like being written as if like it's in the kid's headspace. I'm wondering if like maybe the rewinds are just like this was how his day was in Fantasyland. Then it kept like unfolding with each passing rewind, like as he like recalled the memory. So yeah, I again like this part was like, what the fuck? Just like, okay. And that's honestly my actual thoughts until I had final thoughts on the story. It's just like, oh, it's one of those stories. So, Mikey.
All right. So also talking about the names, the whole name changes gave me whiplash, or story whiplash the first few times.
Yes.
Did an identity crisis.
Yeah. Because I was like, what?
Yeah,
What's
it doesn't leave me
happening?
confused.
And then I eventually, instead of going the multiple personality way, came to the realization that the T-Rex is a multi-dimensional being and is jumping through dimensions.
Oh, okay, that's a cool way to take that.
These are actually different households that he's going into?
Yeah.
Like he is an imaginary friend to a bunch of different kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Some of which he is more dark than others.
Or better yet, he's seeing... So, like, he's playing with Billy this whole time. But Billy's not, like, the one with the psychosis. He's not, like, psychosis or anything like that. And he's not, like, hopping. Like, he may not even be, like, dimensionally hopping to different kids. He's just remembering all the kids that he's been imaginary friends with. So he's, like, thinking... He's basically... Like, the dinosaur has the psychosis.
Yeah, I want to say, when we were done, if you weren't going to go there, I was going to go there.
The
dinosaur has human imaginary
Yeah.
friends.
Okay, that, yes. But I was also thinking, like, the dinosaur is actually kind of senile, so he keeps thinking, like, Billy is a different kid that he's been friends with. So, like, oh, Danny, or, like, oh, Sammy, or Susan. Mm-hmm. Why aren't you up, girl? I'm around. It's like, what are you talking about, Jerry? Oh, Billy, hi.
You're saying he's a little geriatric?
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
I fucking walked into that.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. Wow, that's like 3 different interpretations of that. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I like the psychosis thing a little bit better. Like the kid, like I think the canon one is probably the psychosis thing, but I like the interpretation you got with like the name swapping is that, and also to your like point of like the getting whiplash is like I think that is kind of the point of this.
Yeah,
it's like what? Why is this wrong? Why is that? Because I got it too, and then as I kept reading, I was like, oh fuck.
Also, it doesn't really straight up say in the story that he has multiple personalities.
It doesn't, but it's left to insinuate. And I know how much you hate that, but
I hate assuming. Insinuating's fine. What's the difference?
Yes.
I hate the English language. Yeah.
Like it's basically you have to read between the lines. Like they're like stories.
Yeah, but you could read between the lines saying that he's going to different households.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean that's that. I don't know. Like that's a like. What was your interpretation of this? Because that's his interpretation, and the psychosis thing was my interpretation. What's your interpretation of that, or your initial one?
I don't even know. It was just really confusing. Like, I didn't go with the completely different kid situation. Mm-hmm. But, like, I didn't really go with the multiple personality disorder situation either.
Okay.
It was just kind of like, I don't know why. So it was more, I'm
you didn't
confused.
get it.
I didn't super get it.
Okay. Yeah, because, like, I mean, again, like, it is open, like, stories are open to interpretation. Like, it's kind of the beauty of them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like, I don't know where I was going with that, other than like I'm right and you're wrong. I don't want to say, like, I didn't want to just straight up say that,
but you did.
I know, I feel bad. But like, yeah, like I feel like this is like the story was definitely leaning into the whole like that, like we're this is from the perspective of the kid and he's having some kind of mental break. But that said, I like your option, like Mikey's option of like an imaginary friend doing that. And then I like the extended of that, where the psychosis is actually on the dinosaur, and he's just like having flashbacks of other kids that he's been friends with over here. Yeah. It's kind of like, fuck, I can do that into a Monster Hunter Childish Things game now. Damn it.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, I might do that for fucking...
Yeah. And now the cultist is biting his fist.
Sorry, I've been running a Little Fears game for the guys from the Role Playing Exchange podcast, where one of them has an imaginary friend that he brought to life after he got a teddy dinosaur, like a teddy T-Rex from a carnival, and he brought it to life. And so I had this like I had it like start talking to him. It's like, hi there, Timmy.
Yeah,
don't worry, I'll always be there for you. And like I kind of want to do that now with this, like have like where like. It starts like mixing up his name. It's like, don't worry, Jimmy. Timmy. Oh, right, Timmy. like he's getting like
when he gets corrected, be like, oh right, John.
Yes. Oh, hi there, Susan.
Keep changing the name every single time.
It's like,
even when corrected.
Because I think that would also be really creepy, like to have like your imaginary friend like getting you mixed up with other friends it's had. Mm-hmm. Like that. Oh my god, that's such a cool idea!
You need like a Rolodex of names, so you can just randomly pick one.
Because it's also reminding me, like that idea also reminds me of a Criminal Minds episode, where this killer has like multiple like families that he like is like the boyfriend or husband of. That he goes like he basically like he's always on call or he's always like on the road like on for his job, but really he's just driving to his different families across state. And like eventually his con catches up with him when he starts forgetting what his current family's names are.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So and then like it's
fucked up.
Yeah, it's because he's suffering from like multiple, like not multiple personality, but it's like he's suffering from some kind of like mental break where like he has to like con people. Like even loved ones and stuff like that, and unfortunately, that will lead the more it progresses, it will actually lead to like homicidal tendencies and shit. And so that's why like the guys in the episode are trying to like find him and stop him because he's killed once, he's going to kill again. He might kill again, and this time it might be a family member or like one of his families. But yeah, like damn it, that is a cool story. I need to write that.
There you go.
Sorry. Damn you, Mikey. You and your awesome ideas.
And in regards to the dinosaur did it from the police, they're actually referencing that the crime was committed like an old school crime because...
Man, this guy must have been geriatric.
Oh, so you're saying like an old person killed him? Wow, so you're just being really offensive.
Yeah. Or like he said that, and then like that's actually like again rewind to the very beginning, and that's actually where like somehow like that's where the kid got the name for Jerry for the dinosaur's name is Jerry because he like it's like a dinosaur like the dinosaur must have killed this guy. Like this guy must have been like geriatric the way he slashed him all of a sudden. Really, it's the kid that slashed him, but because he's a little kid, he like. Has about the same strength and so as a much older person, and just like just going into like weird lengths to try and like coordinate this weird psychoses on the kid.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
right. We're talking about a story where there's a yellow dinosaur wearing a sombrero.
Yeah. And my other thought here is that the sombrero-wearing dinosaur is actually the good guy.
And part of the SNTF, I would imagine.
Yes, the Supernatural Task Force.
Oh, yes. Tell me about it.
Because he is actually a multidimensional being.
Of course, we've established that.
And he's keeping the timelines in check, so the parents always have to die.
Because they're going to, like, create a bomb or something. They're going to create a freaking Terminator thing. Can't remember the name. What's the name? Tell me the name. It's going to bug me.
Sarah Connor?
No.
Skynet?
There you go.
Okay.
They're going to make Sarah Connor. I mean, they could, physically.
Do I need to make our next time watch campaign this? Should I do that for our time watch game? For Time Cops? You guys are all imaginary friends to kids. You had to, like, stop, like... I kind of want to do that now, damn you! This is what the episode of, like, Review Call just wants to run RPGs.
Of everything. Get your notepad out, man. I mean, it's on recording, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I like how, like, RPGs have, like, bled into our creepypastas podcast.
Yeah, almost every time. Yeah.
It's almost like it's one of our really beloved hobbies. So I'm actually causing pain in my fingers. Like,
you keep biting your hand while he's talking.
Alright, and that's all I have for actual thoughts.
Okay.
I just like to take a moment. Golf clap.
That's offensive.
What?
You actually clap if you legit enjoy what he did. You golf clap if it's like, oh, good for you.
Oh, really? I thought it was like, okay. I thought it was just like a more polite society kind of thing.
When you're actually playing golf, yes.
All right.
But when you're not in a golf environment, it's like a pretentious kind of like, oh, you did it, good job kind of clap.
All right.
At least that's the way I see it.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I think I have a couple. So right from the get-go, I don't remember if it's the first sentence, it might be. Cold sweat rolled down his forehead. His eyes were wide open. They felt like they hadn't closed them in hours. He hadn't closed them in hours. So hours seems like kind of a stretch to me. Well, that he literally kept his eyes open.
That's
how it felt.
Okay.
It's metaphor.
It's metaphor. Like face.
It's basically explaining that his eyes are heavy.
Yeah.
No, that they're in pain. That you've kept them open for hours.
I literally had that last night. Like, I was playing a game on the computer for like 2 or 3 hours, and when I went to go to bed, my eyes were burning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, while my eyelids were closed, they were hurting.
That's a match. But either ways, keeping them open for hours seemed like a stretch, so I looked it up. And circa 2018, the record is 6 minutes and 2 seconds, held by Chris Pratt. When he beat the previous record of 2 minutes 37 seconds, held by Ryan Reynolds. So there's a show. there's a Spanish television show called El Hormiguero, where they have a regular no blinking challenge with their people that come on. So that's why that's a thing.
Well, thank you, Gamer, for meeting our critically silly quota for the day.
Someone had to do it. So either way, my hopes for the accuracy of this were quite low. And then, however, at the end of that article where I read all this, it said that, according to record setter, a Michael Thomas from Florida held his eyes open for 1 hour and 5 seconds. So, who knows? Maybe this is in the future. And Billy, he's been training his whole life to beat that 2.5 hour record that's currently up. Hence why he knows what it feels like for his eyes to be open for multiple hours.
Or maybe it's just an exaggeration.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Yeah. Who's to say? If it's not put into concrete and like fully visualized and described, then you have to assume. And I hate assuming.
So your issue is that his eyes weren't dry, because the reason why you blink is to re-moisturize your eyes.
Yeah.
So his eyes would have been really dry and...
Or, if we want to take or he is an exilian from Godzilla Final Wars, because that's the only way you can tell that an exilian is not a human, is that they don't blink.
Oh, wow. I don't know these things.
I recently watched Brendan Tenold's review of
Oh,
Final
okay.
Wars,
There you go.
and that is literally like how you could tell that like a human has been replaced by an Exilian.
They don't blink.
Is that they don't blink.
That's a pretty dead giveaway.
Look at their eyes. Oh my god, they don't blink. They must be aliens. Yeah, it's like I just happen to be reading like watching that video and like so like the fact that you just brought that up is like wow.
Yeah,
It's perfect time to bring that up.
there you go. So yeah, I went unnecessarily deep in the first sentence of this.
Yeah, you took a deep dive. Like you just like, what?
Kind of a little bit, yeah. And yeah, there's no actual record for keeping your eyes open because Guinness is like, no, we don't care.
That's life that could hurt somebody's eyes, like damage them.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, like no, literally, like if your eyes are open like for too long, like that, like they dry up and they damage the eyes.
Yeah. There's a reason we blink.
Yeah,
I get that. But yeah, it's kind of funny watching the videos of that Spanish show. Just like seeing them just staring at the camera. It's funny.
Because you got to get it on recording.
Yeah, of course. Either way, moving on. Billy's hands felt frozen like pitchforks. Pitchforks? It's an interesting descriptor to put in there. Confusing, but interesting.
you're not wrong.
But I think it's because it doesn't mean frozen as in cold. It means as in stiff, unable to move them.
Yeah.
So they are like pitchforks now because they are outstretched fingers unable to move.
Yes. It's just a very odd, like it's a very unique descriptor for like having your hands like stiff.
Yeah. It would be fine. It's the fact that it's frozen, and I immediately went cold.
Yes, because frozen has two different meanings in terms of like
English
cold
language.
and solid.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
I will not let it go. I can't hold it back anymore.
Well, the grammar didn't bother me anyway.
Yeah. It's kind of true, actually. Either way, moving on. He hopped off the bus carefully not to miss a step and fall and made his way to his house. Stopped by the doorstep and rang the doorbell. Mother opened the door, he smiled down, proceeded to walk in and all that. So, right. So, Billy's young enough to act like he did earlier, being a kid and all that. But, like, his mom isn't waiting for him at the end of the driveway when he gets home from school?
Yeah, I guess so. Some parents are like that.
I thought, like, basically everyone is, like, waiting for their kids.
Nowadays, but this might not be, like, in the modern day. It might be in the 90s or something. Unfortunately, it's not explained, but, like...
So we have to assume.
Also, like, that is something around here, but that might not be the case everywhere else.
I guess that's true.
Like, elsewhere.
Like, he has to ring the doorbell and everything?
Yeah.
What age did you put him under? Pretty young, right?
5 and 8?
Yeah.
5 to 8, like that range? Because, like, mine...
And you don't wait for your kid? Seems weird.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's so fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he is 8. Well, if you're 8 years old, I could see, like, the parents, like, giving them a little bit more leeway.
Well,
it
could also be new age because the bus drops you right off at your house nowadays.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not like you have to walk 5 miles to get to the bus stop.
Speak for yourself, man. Like, around here, like, there are designated bus stops.
No.
Yeah, there are. At the intersection just down the road, or just up the hill. But not
back in our day, not now.
Yeah, nowadays, my niece gets picked up or gets dropped off and picked up at the house about 5 or 6 houses up.
That's weird because on my street, someone gets dropped off directly at my neighbor's house.
Also,
one person.
Every time I go to walk the dogs, occasionally when I walk the dogs, it's around the same time that buses are coming around. They always stop at 2 intersections, like basically 2 blocks away from each other.
It might be like a couple of different schools come in here, and some do it door by door, and some do it by day.
And those ones, I believe, those are both all the buses I've seen that like stop at one kid is getting stopped at a house, but then the other kids that are off that route, like that are just happen to be close enough, they have to walk back to their house. And those are for elementary, like for the public school and the high school. Like, yeah.
Either way, the kid seemed like a little baby, so it seemed weird that he wasn't getting picked up.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking like, and he was somewhere between 5 and 8. Like, had to be like the age of the kid.
Then my last note is in regards to the ending. Me essentially just questioning how the ending is, and essentially making me feel like this is all a dream of an adult. Because the last line is like, "I need a drink." And he's a kid, so he's not a kid. He's a full-grown man.
Or is he just like completely ignoring the fact that his parents are dead, and he wants a drink after school? Because again, my niece does that same thing. As soon as she comes home, she gets a drink of milk or juice or something like that.
I don't know. It seemed more adult to me, being like, I need a drink of beer.
It could be that way too. Like, it could be him remembering this. Like, it could be a memory from his like childhood, like where his parents were killed or died, and like this is how he's remembering it, is with the yellow sombrero T-Rex, and how he may have killed his own parents. I need a drink. Like, yeah, he's like, it's like, again, like, it's kind of this story has the case of the unreliable narrator. Mm-hmm. In the fact that, like, we don't know if this is an omniscient narrator reading, like, telling this from, like, kind of like in a traditional story writing fashion, or if this is like kind of like supposed to be like the memory of somebody who is the kid who grew up or something.
Based on the ending, it feels like it's all memory to me.
Which is interesting too. Yeah. Like, it actually is like got some. Again, it leaves you to interpret like the story, which is kind of the point of the story sometimes. Yeah, and so like. Yeah, like I actually really like that take on it. Like, this is actually like the kid as an adult. Like, maybe he's like in a padded cell, or
I was gonna say,
or he's just like, maybe he got away with it as a kid because he was so young. Yeah. But nobody pinned it on him, and he's just now remembering that, like, I had some really fucked up shit happen to me, like, kind of thing. Mm-hmm.
Entirely possible.
Mm-hmm. Or it's from the point of view of the dinosaur,
and the dinosaur needs a drink.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just Jerry.
And so did the dinosaur kill the parents?
Well, it looked like a dinosaur did it. Mm-hmm. I've seen dinosaur murders in the past.
Yeah. So in his, like, did he just, like, black out and just, like, maybe he was the one that was drunk, took the piss, and then, like, in a drunken stupor killed the parents. Maybe he is, in fact, Larry.
You tied the piss in.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought that was like the kid was gonna look at the yellow spot and realize that it was just the dinosaur underneath the snow.
Yeah, I thought that, like, the yellow piss spot was gonna, like, form into a dinosaur or something. Yeah.
And the dinosaur keeping us from going to the dark timeline. So when it says it does not get any better than this, he knows it's the truth.
Yeah.
The whole rewinding thing I didn't really get. Like, right from the get-go, it's mentioning rewinding.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to it, I'm just very confused.
It's, again, if this is written the way I think it might be written, it's supposed to be like kind of like a psychosis kind of thing, where it's like, again, the memory's being rewound, and like every iteration, it's slowly changing into something worse.
Well, yeah, but why? If it's a situation where Jerry / Billy, whoever the hell, as an adult is remembering this, then the rewinds him essentially being like, so back when I got off the school bus, it was a bright sunny day. No, wait, there was clouds.
Yeah.
No, wait, there was more clouds. You know what? There was no sun at all.
No sun, and I was worried about smashing my face against the sidewalk and spilling blood and brains.
Yeah. And my skull cracking and everything, yeah.
And my mom wasn't happy. She was just neutral. No, she was sad. And then she wasn't there.
She was dead. That's right. She died. Right. Yeah, like he's just constantly correcting himself.
To be fair, like, in memories, like, at least I don't know if like I've had memories, like, I've recalled memories as if it's like a VHS or like a tape. Mm-hmm. Like, that's and sometimes that's what people, because tapes are recordings of things, of memories, like, by their nature.
Yes.
People sometimes like use that as an analogy for memory.
That's true. That's kind of neat. Mm-hmm. But yeah. And another thing with the whole rewind thing, it unfortunately spoiled the fact that the rewinds were going to happen before they happened.
Did it say at the very end, at the beginning?
Well,
was there a rewind at the beginning?
Oh, okay. There wasn't
it explained the rewinds at the beginning.
It said that it felt like his dreams were being rewound and replayed over and over again. Yeah. But that's not what I'm talking about. When it gets to the point with the school bus, getting off the school bus, I'm like scrolling down. First of all, when I first got to the creepypasta, I scrolled down just to see how long it is, and very clearly see these rewind things. Just without even noticing, I'm like, shit, okay, there's something important with rewinds, whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I'm getting there, as I'm about to read up to it, I can see in my peripherals it's about to rewind. So, because it's in bold by itself, so I kind of wish it was blended into a paragraph so you didn't notice it so clearly.
I'm going to counter you a little bit, and I'm sorry. because it's my nature.
That's fine.
I actually think it helps, like, with the visual aid of the writing, because, yes, you can see it ahead of time. You're not, like, you're supposed to just read it in the net. You're supposed to read the story and, like, not, like, just kind of, shrug that off. I think like the fact that they do mention like him, like his dreams playing on like a recording and like rewinding at the beginning, and then having that, I think it ties in very nicely.
Well, yeah, but I don't think the rewind word had to be there. If it was just the paragraph and it repeating the paragraph, you can see it's being rewound.
Yeah, it could be like how it was earlier, where it was like Joshua was the thing, and Joshua was the blah, blah, blah. Like have that happen, just like, but then also would leave you. Would you be like annoyed that it's like, why am I reading the same thing over? Oh, there's slightly different.
Yeah, because you can see it getting worse and worse, so you know it's being rewound because the same thing's being said.
Oh yeah,
and in doing so, it's not. You can't see it in your peripherals from the get-go, either through scrolling or while you're reading through. Yeah.
I guess take it or leave it then, like the rewind, the being just so like brazen there.
Like I get why it's such a break, because it's a big thing that's weird that's happening, but because it's so big and by itself, it stands out and ruins that.
Especially since the other one didn't happen like that.
No.
But then again, like it didn't rewind. It wasn't rewinding time. It was just like they were playing different games. It wasn't
that was a montage.
Yeah. It was funny if it was like, fast forward. They're playing the game. Fast forward. Playing the game. Fast forward.
Yeah.
Because like that would like show the progression of like moving forward, like as they're playing the games, like things are escalating. And then the rewind throws me off because it like initially I was like, okay, so this is either his day by day, like this is like the passing of days. It's just the same fucking routine, except these changes are happening every day,
but it can't be.
It's the same day, and he just keeps rewinding, and like things like the falsities or the falsehoods start like getting shed off. Like
it's either he's trying to remember it, and he's remembering it more clearly the more he thinks about it, or it's a Groundhog Day situation, and it keeps actually resetting.
Yeah,
or. Everything's being played in reverse.
Yeah.
Well, so the murder that happens is the first thing that happens.
And then because his his mind has tried to like block it out or whatever, he's added a bunch of like falsehoods, like fantasy stuff. Like again, like it was a bright day, and I was just trying to be careful not to fall on the ground. I wasn't thinking about blood or guts or anything like that. And like I rang the doorbell. My mom was happy to see me, and then my mom wasn't really happy to see me, and she really wasn't happy to see me, and then she just wasn't there.
But maybe it's all completely reversed because it's all rewound.
It is.
Each day is rewound previously, and it's getting worse the further back you go, which means the first point is the death of his parents.
Yeah.
And then they bring in the clone family to support him because his parents are killed, and they're sad because they're not his actual parents, but then they start growing on him and getting normal.
Okay, that's going a little...
normal.
Okay, yeah. Like, I was going with, like, cerebral, you're going with, like, silly. But then I guess...
But it's all rewound, so you never know.
So really, they just mementoed us.
Yeah.
Nice.
The Fresh Maker.
Oh, no, what? All right, moving on.
That's just Mentos, not Mementos.
Yeah.
But they're my Mentos. You can't have them, they're mine.
Moving on. Do you have anything else for actual thoughts?
No, that's good.
Okay. So moving on to final thoughts. So my first, like, right after I finished reading this, like, well, that was a trip. That was a head trip. This
head trip onto clean concrete, smashing your head open.
So the story really isn't a dinosaur creepypasta, more of a psychological horror with a dinosaur hallucination.
What classifies it as a dinosaur creepypasta to you?
And to be fair, like, to a degree, I mean, that isn't exactly accurate, because, I mean, literally, the title brought us to this point. And
it was the eye catch.
Yeah, it's the eye catch, and it's also the dinosaur. Like, there is a dinosaur for most of the story. So, is it a dinosaur creepypasta, or is it more of a psychological horror story creepypasta?
Yeah, but I have to ask again, what classifies it? What classifies a story as a dinosaur creepypasta to you?
To me, initially, my category was like, is the dinosaur the monster or killer or like thing stalking people?
What says he isn't?
And
it looked like a dinosaur did it.
Yeah,
it could be a monster and childish things where the kid has a imaginary dinosaur creature that needs to feed at some point. and kill people.
And I mean, again, I think my category has broadened a little bit for the whole why we're doing it for DinoVember, is because there is a dinosaur in it prevalently. It's not just hand wavedly mentioned, it's in the story for about half the story.
Yeah. It's not like there's a kid and he has a room and there's a dinosaur toy in the back, but he never plays with it.
Yeah.
That doesn't classify it in DinoVember.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like I googled dinosaur creepypastas and then this one says dinosaur in it somewhere, so that works, right? And it's really just and the person saw a billboard saying welcome to Dinosaur Park, and then we left that place, because it was silly.
Okay, but if they went to Dinosaur Park and then all the animatronics became alive and started killing them, animatronic dinosaurs.
That would work for both DinoVember and RoboVember.
Ooh. You have to find that one now.
God damn it. Or, I could just listen to the Slasher Flick actual play from the from Technical Difficulties podcast, where they literally have Jurassic Park, except it's all animatronic dinosaurs, so it's 5 Nights at Freddy's meets Jurassic Park.
Ooh.
Go check out the Technical Difficulties gaming podcast for more coolness.
Nice plug.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're buddies. So.
There you
go. But yeah, so anyway, going back to my initial thing. So it was interesting, this, I went into this thing that was going to be dinosaur focused, an actual dinosaur, even though it said Sombrero wearing dinosaur. But then it became this kind of even better creepy psychological horror kind of mode. And with this title, it has, it really helps to pull in a reader with the whole, what is this doing here? On creepypasta.wikia, why is this? This has got to be a troll pasta, or this has got to be really bad. I gotta check this out just in case, just to see it. This is absurd, and that's how it pulls you in, because the title is silly, and commenters on this were even commenting on that a lot. Was I had to check this out when I read that story. This has to be a troll pasta, or it's a troll creepy pasta.
Yeah, it's how we stumbled across Who's Phone.
Exactly.
It's such a confusing, weird title. It's I must know.
Exactly.
And then once you read it, it's my God.
God tier. Mm-hmm. And what I like about this title is that it's not it's not wrong related. No, it's relatable, or it's related to the story. Strangely enough, the title of this story is actually very apt for it as it relates to the plot of the story, but it's not spoilery either. It's succinct as well and grabs your attention. So it's kind of the perfect title for this creepypasta. It's not too long. It's not there was a sombrero wearing T-Rex in my room.
And he may have killed my parents.
I was I don't know. I wish I did. Now I wish I hadn't woken up. Yeah. Thanks, Red No Sleep. But it's a succinct thing. It's absurd, but it's related to the story, and it gets you to read this story that's actually not bad. Spoilers. I enjoyed the story. So.
We are in final thoughts. It's not spoiler territory anymore.
There's a lot of run-on sentences and some need for mechanical fixes in the writing. There needs to be some work on the sentences structure and at making some sentences where there's just a paragraph. But the dread I got as Billy was playing with the sombrero-wearing dinosaur is the same kind of dread that you get when you overhear a child in the next room playing with their toys. And they whisper something along the lines of, "What's that, Teddy? I should make Mommy and Daddy fall asleep forever?" Yeah, that's the dread from this story, is kind of realizing that this kid is suffering from some kind of break or something, and is possibly going to kill. And I kind of saw the ending as a result of the initial that initial playtime thing, but at the same time, it was rewarding nonetheless for me. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here, it needs some refining. I'm not saying it's a perfect, it's even a perfect story at all, because no stories really are.
Except for gotcha ones, but
yes. But otherwise, I would actually recommend this, if just because it surprised me with the title and then what I read, and in a good way, not this is what I thought I was going to read. This is what I got when I read.
And the title wasn't a lie. You got a sombrero wearing dinosaur.
And it was not silly. It was silly, but it wasn't. It was always silly for like a moment, and then they started having playtime, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Like what? Like I started getting shivers at when Jerry suddenly became the multiple stab wounds, and then Susan became the body and the dead body, and Jerry became the father. It was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like the story has a silly title, but it works for throwing you off and grabbing you at the same time. So yeah, I guess my recommendation is I do recommend it, though it does need a lot of work in the writing itself. But the execution didn't.
Plot-wise is good.
Plot-wise, and even the execution, yes, I acknowledge it needs a lot. It needs to be fixed. It didn't hamper it too much that it was unreadable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, recommend. Mikey, what do you got?
I have a partial recommendation.
Fair.
The name Whiplash at the beginning
Okay.
was annoying until
You realize
what's going on, and then you have to come up with an explanation of what's going on, which I went with the multidimensional dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
Odd enough. Usually you go for the mundane shit.
There was a dinosaur there.
Yeah.
He had a sombrero.
Yeah.
Hallucinations. Psychosis. Sleep paralysis.
Aliens!
I guess you have two modes. It's either aliens or sleep paralysis. And I went sleep paralysis, you went aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once you come up with and sort of figure out what's going on in your own mind, it becomes a lot better.
Yeah.
But you have to make that decision.
Yeah.
Fair. I don't see that as a bad thing, but okay.
Well, it might be a bad thing for gaming.
Yeah.
Because when I read it, I'm like, huh?
I'm confused.
Yeah.
Not to make fun of you for being the layman, but
Why? Because you said confused?
But I'm saying you are kind of the layman in our group.
Well, I'm aware. It's fine.
Yes.
So, partial recommendation, that's it?
Yeah.
Just because the name
Yeah.
annoyed you too much.
conventions.
Yeah. Well, the name Whiplash and the multiple always changing of the name and stuff that until you get used to still talking about the same kid even though he has multiple names.
Well, he responds to the different names as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it says in the story that his name is changing and that's fine.
Yeah. And that's part of the dread. It's like, no, this is fine. Everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch.
Yeah, it's almost
stab.
It's almost like the creature's manipulating his mind. Like,
Yeah.
you can call him whatever the fuck he wants.
So another
It's a power
monster,
move by the creature.
I was going to say, another Monster Not Childish thing. This is basically just a first encounter with your monster, and you're rolling a sand check, because, holy shit, it's a fucking T-Rex. Because it's a motherfucking T-Rex! Fuck T-Rex!
Yeah?
Sorry.
I know that's from a thing, I just don't remember.
It's a song online. So,
Sounds like a song online.
yeah. Sorry, continue that.
But yeah, when I read through it, I didn't really know how to take the name situation, so I kind of brushed it off a little bit. I assumed that they were just sort of, because this happened, it happened before playtime, but it happened a lot during playtime too, so it's just like, I'm gonna be, I don't remember the name.
Steve.
I'm gonna be
Joshua.
Jimmy, the firefighter,
Yeah.
and you'll be
It's actually-
Jerry still.
Yeah, it's actually Joshua the whole time during playtime. And then until Susan at the last one.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I assumed it's just a kid being like, I'm the Red Power Ranger.
Yeah.
You know?
And kids do that. Again, bring up my niece again. She does her pretend playtime stuff is very similar to that.
Mm-hmm, for sure. But yeah, and this didn't fall into the pitfalls of having a quote unquote funny monster. I mean, when I first imagined him, I imagined him like you did, Cultist. He's a giant, actual, realistic T-Rex with a hat.
Yeah.
Okay, him being a realistic T-Rex in your room and being yellow and awesome because he's yellow is creepy. But him having a hat immediately lowers his creep value.
And actually, it just kind of makes him cool at that point.
Does it?
Kind of.
Did he have sunglasses?
No.
Then coolness
it's
is to be
night.
determined.
He didn't have sunglasses because it was at night. And
Hey,
You
man.
don't wear sunglasses at night.
He could wear sunglasses at night. It's so he can sleep, right?
Yes.
But yes, his coolness is to be determined because he doesn't have sunglasses, but the hat offsets the scariness of him being a T-Rex, but even if he was a full-on T-Rex with no hat, he's still talking to the kid through his mind. And, like, the way that everything escalates, he doesn't... I was always unsure about the T-Rex from the get-go, and never in the safe space that the kid was.
Yeah. Because
I'm like, what the fuck's happening here, and how is this okay? Where with some other creepypastas, there's just this little funny little looking monster that I'm supposed to be scared of, and I never am.
So wow, you actually had the opposite result of like what you usually have with.
Yes, I had a Mr. Widemouth situation.
Yeah,
where it's a funny creature that isn't it's still scary. He pulls off the scare
because its actions are what's unnerving, I think.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. It doesn't stay silly for long.
No.
Like, the initial is like, okay, so it's, all right, let's see. Oh, fuck. like
when I came in here, I'm reading a story called The Sombrero Wearing Dinosaur.
Yeah.
So, and then the artist's rendition of it.
I know. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what the hell am I going to read?
If you go to, the Wizard Experience starring Med 2.0's, user page, they have a drawing that has a lot more drawings. Like, there's the T-Rex, but apparently that was just one picture from like a whole page of weird drawings that they did.
Yeah. But I get it too, because it's the kid's drawing.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Yeah, it's a kid's drawing. It's done kind of in a primitive way, so it's done like the kid drawing. So like that adds on to like, because like when kids draw shit, like sometimes it can get really like creepy, even though it's like kind of silly.
Yeah, for sure. But either way, the monster was good. It got creepy. It got weird. The rewind thing was a little confusing, but it didn't ruin it for me. Mm-hmm. The ending was really confusing, but it just makes you think about who's actually telling the story now. Yeah. If it's the kid, if he's still a kid at this moment.
Or if it's, like, years down the road and he's like...
Yeah, and, like, his exaggeration of being like, I had to make sure I didn't fall out of the bus and crack my skull open on the pavement and spill my brains out. Meanwhile, he's just like, oh, don't fall, whoa. But he's not actually... He might not actually be as dark as he is as an adult. Yeah. Or he's fucked up the entire time because his dad was fucked up the entire time.
Yeah. And that's one thing I like about this story, is that like a good creepypasta or a good horror story in general leaves you like wondering, but still kind of satisfied.
Yes. Whereas some of them, there's so much to assume that I can't get a grip on anything. Yeah. Everything's jello.
So, for this story in particular, was this a sleepaway camp ending? Like, where like you're just like, you like walked away from that movie or walked away from that theater, it's like, and start talking to randoms and just like, what the fuck what just happened here?
I mean, I read the story and I'm talking to you guys. Yeah, you're not randoms though.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of randos.
Occasionally. But long story short, I did enjoy it and I'll recommend it. But if you're going into this based on the title and the art and wanting to read something bad, then I can't recommend it. Because it's not bad.
It is a troll creepypasta in that it is a creepypasta that will troll the trolls.
Yeah, because it looks like it's going to be something not good because of the art and the title.
But it's actually bad. Really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually kind of great.
It's just really confusing at times, and I would like a little bit of clarification on things. Because just us talking about it, there's so many different ways that we took both the dinosaur, the murder, and also the kid as well. And like, when is this taking place? Is it all a memory? Is it all a dream? Is it all happening now? Mm-hmm. Is the dinosaur giving him like time-based rewind powers? Like, there's so many variables that in that aspect it's hard to get a grip on, but all of the weirdness there is interesting enough that it was enjoyable to read. Mm-hmm. So I, again, have to recommend it.
Wow. I've got to tell you guys, I was not expecting round table recommendation, at least even partial recommendation. Well, yeah, but still like recommendation.
It's 2.5 stars.
Yeah.
2.5 Cthulhu's out of 3.
Again, like, I really didn't know what to think about the story when I first brought it. I was like, oh god, this is either gonna be really bad or this is gonna be like, I don't know, let's see. And then I read it, I was like, I don't know how the other guys are going to take this.
He's yellow.
Yeah, I guess that should be right.
That rounded up from half recommendation to a full one.
Oh, clearly.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So yeah, this was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr.
Yeah.
You can also find us out on iTunes and leave us a rating and review. Help us spread like a virus. We've been getting people like, "Oh, we're so underrated. You're such an underrated channel on YouTube and stuff like that."
Just thank you guys, by the way.
Yeah. First off, yes, thank you for the
positive feedback,
the praise and comments. But yes, you know how you can help that? Help us spread the word of Al Dente Rigamortis.
Tell your friends, they'll tell their friends, and their friends will tell their friends. And their friends' will tell you about it, and you'll be like, "Oh, I knew about it before. It's cool."
Okay, wow. You're going with the hipster? Al Dente hipsters, really?
Hell yeah.
Okay, anyway. Go on iTunes, leave us a rating and review. Let us know how we're doing, because that's the only way we can improve. Or, give us some feedback on this. Mm-hmm. We've been doing this for 5 years now. So,
but we're not. Our structure is not set in stone.
No, we're constantly mutating and evolving.
Yeah.
Mikey's eyes is like, whoa, what?
Why do you think I wear this mask?
Yeah. And why do you think I can't see? You can't see my face except that glowing eye. A second eye pops up.
Actually, no, I wear no mask. This is just my face.
You can also leave us a message on Twitter, because we're all on Twitter for the most part.
If you want to classify me, I have an account there. I'm not super active.
You occasionally pop up on there.
Yeah, sometimes.
When Warframe creepy stuff happens.
Hey man, I'm learning to play the Schwazen. I got shit to
do. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W, because, well, his name's too goddamn long.
Put the blower the king.
And I'm at Review Cultist. You can talk to us there or send us stuff there. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. If you'd like to help support the show financially, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigamortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $5, $2 tier with extra episodes, extra content, special content even, and early access. And for our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. As always, you're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. To the listeners of our show and the writers of these stories, thank you immensely, because seriously, guys, without your listenership or your authorship, we wouldn't have much of a show. So, thank you. So until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis, the start of DinoVember. Sleep well.